Hello and good morning. I'm Jordana Tobel, broker owner of Premier Listings in Delray Beach. And I've been doing a lot of thinking recently about everything that's happening in the world, and it certainly is a very scary time. Um, I wrote an article this weekend about how important it is that all of us are leaders. So whether that's being a leader in your own household or being a leader within your own family or with it if somebody reports to you or if you're a broker owner yourself, I think now more than ever, people need leadership in the sense of having people to reassure them, having people to tell them things are going to be okay, and just to educate and inform everyone around us. So when I wrote that article, I thought to myself, I need to be doing that too, and not only to the people that are agents in my office, but to our community in general. And so I decided I would do this video today, record. I'm actually redoing a meeting that I held on Friday for my team. I'm going to show you guys a presentation. This is specifically for realtors that are maybe a little confused about what to do now or what is the right approach. I have some suggestions. I have some facts that you can use, some scripts. And so with that being said, I hope you enjoy. If you do, please let me know and I'll continue to do these types of recordings. I'm going to share my screen and show you a presentation. Like I said, that I thought went really well. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, okay. Bear with me a second. Okay. Okay, so I'm hoping that you can see my screen now. This was the meeting that I had. Like I said, this was my team meeting from Friday. So today being Monday, I woke up and I said, I want to lead not only the people around me, but if I can help and support other realtors, then that's what I'm going to do. So what we talked about on Friday and what I'm going to talk about today is, number one, as a realtor, what should you be doing right now? Number two, why you're doing it. Number three, what are some of the facts? And number four, what are some details and suggestions, including scripts and things like that. So first and foremost, section one, what should you be doing? In case you've forgotten, as a realtor, there are three things that you need to do at all times. One, prospect. Two, nurture. And three, close. So regardless of what's happening in the world, if there's a pandemic or not, you need to be doing all three of those things on any given day. And if you're not, my suggestion is to stop and think about what can you do to do each of those three things. I'm going to explain to you today how you can continue to do that, considering the current crisis that we're going through and with the coronavirus in general. So the question is, can you do those three things now? Can you prospect and talk to new clients? Can you nurture and continue your existing relationships? And can you close? The answer is yes. So number one, in order to prospect, in order to nurture, you need to be making calls. And I have to say, now is an amazing time to make calls. Why? Because everyone is craving human connection. People want to hear from you. People are scared. And people are going to be nicer now, I think, than ever, because the reality is that we're all connected. And what's happening in the world is a true reminder of that. In addition to especially the agents in my office that make calls, I don't think that's enough. I think that it's an uncomfortable position that we're all in, and part of being uncomfortable is growth and pushing yourself to think outside the box. And so because today is not the same world as it was a few weeks ago, my recommendation is to do things differently. So when I thought about this, I thought, what can people do differently? Well, first, myself, I can do things like this, which is share Zoom calls, not only with my team, but for everyone around me. I can record myself, which is, a little bit intimidating to do, but I'm going to push myself and I'm going to try and become better because of everything that's happening. You as an agent, if you're making calls, my recommendation is to do a little bit more. And it's this. a video is worth 1,000 handshakes. Right now, none of us can shake hands, but we sure can make a video. So if you don't have the technology to do it, go out and get it. There's a lot of technology. The agents in my office have this technology where they can essentially record a video, whether it's 10 seconds long or longer. They can send it out to their clients, their previous clients, their referral clients, their current buyers and sellers, let them know, hey, I'm here for you. If I can help you, if you need water or groceries or anything else that we can do just to help each other, just check in. I recommend a video. And I know it's hard, it's uncomfortable, but the reality is that putting yourself in front of the camera is an amazing tool to help engage and connect with your clients. Let's see, section 2. So I just talked a little bit about what you should be doing. And to summarize, my recommendation is to continue to make calls, absolutely push yourself outside of your comfort zone, make videos, because you can still connect with people even though we're doing it virtually. Section 2, why? Let's talk about why you're doing these things. So guess what? Number 1, the market will come roaring back. I'm going to give you some facts and some data in a little bit that will help you understand that yes, we are in a recession. Yes, there's an absolute economic downturn. The economy basically came to a screeching halt. Does that mean that we are in a high housing crisis? No, it does not. There are two very different things. And as a realtor, you need to understand that and educate yourself and those around you to understand the difference. Number 2, what you do today is going to determine your success when this is all over. In order to set yourself apart, don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Worry about yourself. Other agents may not be maybe feeling bad about the current situation that they can't sell, that they can't show. Maybe they're not making calls. Maybe they're thinking about changing careers. You are not. My recommendation, set yourself apart by continuing to provide value, continuing to educate, and continuing to inform your clients so that when they are ready, when life resumes back to normal, and when those real estate needs can't wait anymore, you are the one they are going to work with. Number 3, and this is a big one, you got to switch your mindset. You got to start seeing that today is an opportunity. It is, yes, it's a hard time, but in every hard time, there are always opportunities and silver linings. Real estate is a 90-day life cycle anyway, and we're hoping that this is over in 90 days. So let's assume that it is. Where are you going to be when the race starts back up again, right? If you want a head start, you got to do the work today. All right, so those are my recommendations. And number 1, what to do. Number 2, why. And number 3, let's talk about some facts. So I got these, the next slides I got from a really fantastic source called Keeping Current Matters. These are really great slides that all come from economists. I did not make these slides up, but I want to share with you how you can use this information and how you can use these slides to better serve your clients and do a better job yourself. So this first slide shows what we all know, which is that buyer activity has basically come to a screeching halt, right? And because of that halt, there's an enormous economic downturn, which I already mentioned, but that does not equal a housing crisis. They are very different things. So these are, I'm going to go over a couple of facts and statements and quotes that economists have made that you can use, right? So what I want to read here is a quote from a Wells Fargo economist, and that quote says that we do not expect a repeat of the severe recession of 2008 and 2009 because the virus is not endemic to the financial system. It is an external factor. Once that virus peaks, we expect a recovery to gain momentum into the final quarter. Why is this important? This is important because when you speak to your clients, whether they're a buyer or they're a seller, and they ask you, well, what's going to happen next? These are the types of things that you need to tell them. That the virus, these are not the same concerns we had in 2007 and 2008, which were legitimate economic concerns that legitimately had an impact on housing prices. The fact that there is an external force of the virus, that isn't going to have the same impact that 2007 and 2008 had. If you can inform your clients of that and help calm them down and help them see that we will resume once we are through this, I think it'll make everyone feel better. This is another big slide for me, right? Although the size of this disruption is not predicted to last long, We believe the fading of the outbreak should promote normalization into the mid-year. So this is important because people are going to ask you, when are things going to go back to normal? Mid-year is, let's say, June, July, August, right? That's when we will hopefully resume normalcy. Historically, when there has been pent-up demand, well, that's what's going to happen, right? Right now, we are in a period of contracting growth. When that growth happens, what happens after that contracting growth? Meaning there's less demand now because none of us are able to go and buy or sell. That will result in pent-up demand. That, coupled with the lagged impact of monetary stimulus and the potential for more, creates the potential for a rebound later this year. These are facts that as realtors, I think everyone should know, which is that for the next 60 days, they will suspend foreclosures, they will suspend evictions, and actually the quote is for at least 60 days. So that's just something that I want everyone to know. Let's talk again about historically. Historically, analysis shows us that pandemics are usually V-shaped. So what does that mean? A V-shape means that when you dip down significantly, like which is what is happening right now, when you recover, you also recover significantly. So it goes down and it goes right back up again. We're all hoping that this will provide little damage to home prices because there will still be factors, which I'm about to talk about, which are going to help us continue the growth that we've had. So this is a chart from Goldman Sachs, and it shows you that V-shape that I mentioned. Yes, Q2 has gone down already, negative 24%, but look at where Q3 and where Q4 are. We are absolutely going to rebound. And let's talk about, this kind of goes back to my earlier slides. If this virus were to end right now, how long would it take you to get back to normal? 66% say less than a month, and 90% say 1 to 3 months. I'd love for all of you to be in that 66% category, which means that it'll take you less than a month. Again, what you're going to do today is going to help determine where you're going to be when we end. I mentioned a little bit about why and how the housing is not a crisis like it was in 2007, right? And so it's important to understand some facts, including this one. So I want to compare the recession of 2007 to what's happening in today's world, right? So in 2005, 2006, and 2007, the total equity that was cashed out, right? Meaning the amount of cash that people were taking out of their homes was over $800 billion. So essentially people were using their homes like ATMs. Now, the past 3 years, 2017, 2018, and 2019, the amount of cash out is only $232 billion. Here's why that's so important. If somebody asks you, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, is there going to be a recession? Is there not recession because we're in one. Is there going to be a foreclosure crisis, right? Your answer to that is most likely no. And here, this slide tells you why. Because people have so much equity in their homes, there's wealth, people are not going to walk away. So if you look at 2005, 6, and 7, people had no skin in the game. That's why everyone walked away. Everyone was so busy taking money out that nobody had any money in the home. And when they couldn't pay their bills, it didn't matter. Well, today, in the past 3 years, people have a lot of equity. People aren't going to walk away if they still have $50, $60, $70, $100, $200,000 worth of equity in their home. They're not going to foreclose. And that is an important answer when a client says to you, I'm concerned about a foreclosure crisis. Your answer is this. Your answer is that we have a lot more wealth as far as the American homeowner has more wealth in their home. And that means they are not going to walk away from that. This is another important slide. It talks about the similarity between 9/11, and I hate to say that, but they are both external factors that are happening. They're not financial facts or data. It's an external circumstance. And what happened in 9/11 was that home prices continued to appreciate. Yes, there was panic, there was fear. Yes, people stopped everything, right? But it didn't change the fact that prices still went up. This slide talks about the same parts of the economy being under pressure. And the only reason I want to make this comparison is because we can look at what happened to home prices then and compare it to what we think will happen now to home prices. And this shows you a little bit about it, right? So if you look at the stock market, that's what that red negative part of the graph shows the stock market in the 9/11 crash, right, went down a significant percent. But look at what happened to home prices. Home prices, even though the stock market corrected and even though people were in panic, home prices did not go down. They actually had a relatively healthy appreciation from 8.6 to 6.6 to 8.5%. Another important point that you can make to your clients, over the past 5 recessions, and this one slide is missing, of course, the most important one, which was 2007. Of the past 5 recessions, during 3 of those recessions, home prices did not go down. Home prices went up. And that's what I'm expecting to happen during this recession. This is a slide that I already kind of talked about, if we're going to see a rise in the number of foreclosures. So I talked about home equity and wealth and cashing out, and that's one factor. Another factor, if you look at the last 6 years of growth and compare that to the growth that led up to the crash in 2007, you'll see that the growth in 2007 of 12.5, 11.5% in the last 2 years, that's almost 3 times more than the growth we're having in the last 6 years. The last 2 years is 4.8 and 4.7, and that's actually a relatively stable and normal amount of growth. Because of that, we are less likely to go into a foreclosure crisis. Another factor in why we will not have a foreclosure crisis is if you look at the historic data from mortgage credit, right? So this is the amount that banks are willing to lend. Look at what was happening in that very tip top of the bubble right there in June 2006. I believe that's $900 billion that was being lent, right? If you compare that to today, we're just under 200. So from a mortgage credit availability standpoint, what's happening today is way more realistic. Our guidelines are tighter. We're not giving money out the way we were in 2007. And because of that, we are less likely to have a foreclosure crisis. This is another big one, another big reason why we will not have a crisis. In 2007, we had 8 months of inventory. Right now, we have 3. We didn't have a lot of inventory before the pandemic, excuse me. And there's going to be even less inventory now as people are a little bit less likely to list. Another factor about why we will not have a foreclosure crisis is that if you look at the percentage that people are paying of their housing payments of their income, look at where it is. The numbers on this slide got messed up, but it doesn't matter because what I want you to pay attention to is the trajectory of the graph. And you can see that where we are now at this lower point right here shows you that there's a lot less. People are spending less as a percentage of their income, which means that people can afford it. Oh, this chart actually answers that question. In 2006, people were spending 25% of their income on their housing costs, and now it's only 14%. This is another great quote talking about the fact that it will be very different now. That U-shaped recovery is essentially what it shows you the slow recovery. I expect, or in this case, she's saying, this economist, that she expects this to be much milder because there is no dysfunction in the banking system. And remember, that's what was happening in 2007. There was a dysfunction in the banking system. And we all know there's many reasons for that, right? People were giving away money. There was too much inventory. Prices were falsely inflated. We don't have that now. We have tight guidelines, not enough inventory, and we're not giving money out the way we were. This slide shows us, in the last 12 months, how much equity were people gaining. And you can see anything in blue shows an increase in equity. Anything in red shows a decrease. And clearly, what do you see? What do you notice? There is no red. Most homeowners across the entire United States had an equity gain last year. If people are gaining money, are they going to stop making payments? Most likely, no, they're not, because they want that money. They want their equity, right? So again, this is an important factor that I need all of you to understand in order to help educate the consumers around this. Rates are low. Of course, that contributes to people buying. Okay, so now let's talk about how you can differentiate yourself during a pandemic. right? I'm trying to differentiate myself as a broker by giving you this information. And my recommendation is that you, as an agent, should create educational content. Keep your clients and prospects informed during these difficult times. All of these slides, I'm happy to share with you. Just send me an email and share all this data, or tell them some of the things that I'm telling you today. Help educate and inform them. Because the truth is that in a crisis, the only asset that you have is your credibility, right? And these are the moments when we can rise above and we can establish that credibility. Like I started when I opened this call, I explained to you the importance of being a leader. Whether you realize it or not, each and every one of you are leaders, right? You're leaders with your previous clients, your current clients, anyone that knows you. You are a leader in the real estate community, and now more than ever is a time for all of us to lead. A year from now, right, when the economy goes back to where it was before, and we are on our way back up, I want you to think about asking yourself this question: did you do enough? This last section, I'm going to give some suggestions and scripts. When you're calling people, this specifically was for my office because we do a lot of lead generation. And I'm recommending, this was actually back on Friday prior to them asking us not to show homes. But essentially what we were doing is when we were calling these prospects, we were explaining that there are three choices, right? Number one, we can show them homes virtually. Number two, we can send them videos. Number three, instead of doing any of that, we can simply use this time to get to know each other, conduct due diligence so that when things are better, we can start to search then. I want you to talk about the fact that when the quarantine lifts, right, and when we're all allowed to go back out again, people are going to go crazy, right? People are going to be waiting online for sporting events. People are going to be making reservations. Everyone's going to be out and about, right? And so I want you to talk about that in the same way when it comes to real estate, right? We're all stuck right now. But when we're not stuck anymore, will people be lining up to buy real estate? Hopefully. Other things, last week, we still went under contract. We still have buyers that are making offers. I'm seeing about a little bit less than half of the clients that we work with. Half of them are saying, yes, they want to buy now, take advantage of low rates, take advantage of not a lot of competition. The other half are saying they're scared and they want to wait. My recommendation, if you were a realtor talking to a previous client, use stories, right? So explain what happened to you. In our office, we've been sharing stories of how we're saving our clients money. We're seeing buyers save $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 because there isn't a lot of competition right now and a lot of people are scared. Other opportunities today, people are willing to talk, everyone's home. You should call them, reach out to them, connect with them on a human level, ask how they're doing, ask if you can help. You can create opportunities. And the reality is we all have a great icebreaker, which is you can ask, how are you doing with all of this? Are you stuck home? And what does that feel like? All of this is going to enable you to build more relationships. And at the end of the day, that's really what we're doing here in real estate. We're building relationships. I have a couple of objections. Some of these are about a week old. I'm going to skip through a lot of these. If anyone is interested in these slides, let me know and I'll share them with you. I'm going to skip to, I have a couple more slides left. If you come with me this far, thank you. And I love feedback, by the way, if you think this is a good call and you're enjoying the information. If you are calling people, I want to recommend that you think about what you're saying, think about your attitude before you call, because people can hear and feel anxiety. Don't bring negativity to your calls. If you're having a bad day, maybe wait a little bit until you're in a better mood. Real estate is a contact sport. The more contact you have with more people, the better. So at the end of the day, this is your time to thrive, right? My biggest piece of advice, continue to read, continue to listen, continue to get pumped up, because tough times require tough people. This is an email that I drafted for the agents in my office to use. And then at the end of the day, as real estate professionals, all of us want to be solutions people, right? That's essentially what we're doing is we're solving people's needs, whether it's buying or selling a home. I know that there are 1,000 reasons why that's hard right now, and I'm not trying to say that it's not. I know that it is, but I'm trying to help you understand that we are going to get through this. Be a leader within your own community. Continue to do the best you can, because really at the end of the day, that's all that we can do. So with that being said, let me stop my screen share. So again, my name is Jordana Tobel. I'm the broker owner of Premier Listings. If you enjoyed this call and this recording, please let me know. I hope that I was helpful for you. I hope that I'm leading you, and I hope that you can go out there and lead others around you. Thanks so much. Take care.